The confirmation battle is underway on Capitol Hill over President Trump's nominee for the Supreme Court.
The president has tapped federal appeals court judge Brett Kavanaugh to replace retiring Justice Anthony Kennedy, but some are concerned that his Catholic upbringing may play a role in how he judges from the bench.
Katie Steiner is joining us now with that part of the story. Katie?
Yeah, there's religion here, and then there's also the fact that he's more conservative. So experts are saying that Judge Kavanaugh could change the leaning of the court. So we wanted to show you what the makeup of the court is right now. We're going to start with the most conservative judge and then end with the most liberal. And this is all according to Business Insider. So by far, the most conservative judge on the bench right now is Justice Clarence Thomas. Then you have newly appointed Justice Neil Gorsuch. You've got Justice Samuel Alito, and then Chief Justice John Roberts. Those are the conservative justices. So then you have Justice Stephen Breyer getting a little bit more liberal here, Justice Elena Kagan, who is more liberal, and then you've got Justice Sonia Sotomayor and Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who are by far the most liberal judges on the bench. And experts at CBS think that if the Senate does confirm Judge Kavanaugh, he would fit right here in between Thomas and Gorsuch. That's where people think that he would lean. Now, religion is also a factor for a lot of people. So we wanted to break down that for you as well. So the court has 3 people who are Jewish. You've got Breyer, Kagan, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg there. You have 1 Episcopalian in Neil Gorsuch, and then the rest are Catholic. So you have 4 Catholics, Thomas, Alito, Roberts, and Sonia Sotomayor. Now, Judge Kavanaugh, he is Catholic, but the person that he might be replacing, Justice Anthony Kennedy, is also Catholic. So the religious makeup of the court would not change at all because of Kavanaugh joining the court. Now, it's all up to the Senate. We're going to be hearing about this a lot as we go through those confirmation hearings, and then they're going to have to put it to a vote. Guys?
Thank you very much, Katie. We want